Okay, good morning. Let us start today's class and hopefully that everybody will join shortly. Okay, I will be providing a general brief description about today's class, and we are starting our new unit today. It is Unit 2, Time Response Analysis. Under that, we will be focusing towards time response analysis for a first order system. Okay, this is falling under Unit 2, your time response analysis. Okay. So, if you see that syllabus of the system is initially it is time response, time domain specifications will be discussed, then type of test inputs, particularly test signals will be discussed. Then they will be talking about first and second order systems responses based on the test signals. Then error coefficients, generalized error series, steady state error, root locus construction, effects of various conventional control, particularly feedback mode. Okay, in general, we will be talking about all the time response analysis. This lecture particularly will be focusing on these four uh, topics. One is giving an introduction about what is time response analysis. Number two, standard test signals will be discussed. Then we will be giving you an introduction about order and type of a system. Then time response analysis of a first order system. Okay, hopefully we will try to complete this today, right? So if you see the definition of the system, first the time response definition, it says that the time response of the system is particularly output of the closed loop system, is the output of the closed loop system as a function of time. How do you represent a closed loop output? You represent it as C of t. If you take Laplace, you will get C of s. So getting C of t is what the ultimate aim. If you know what is your R of t and your system G of s. Okay. So what is the ultimate aim of the time response analysis? To find C of t. How a system will respond if a particular input is provided. You know R of t is your input. R of t is your input. Okay. So to know what is the output, if a known input is provided and you know what is the system is. Understand? So that is what they mean. The output of the closed loop system as a function of time. It is denoted by C of t. The time response can be obtained by solving the differential equation governing the system. Okay, you can directly, if you have a differential equation representation, then you can directly find the solution for the differential equation. Okay, or you can convert the differential equation into a transfer function, then work that in your what is that, your frequency domain, then you get back to your time domain so that you get your C of t. So if you have a transfer function like g of s, you call this a system transfer function. This is your system. And h of s, what is h of s? Anybody in the class? What is h of s? Hello? What is h of s? Anybody who wants to say, you can, rather than typing the answer, you can just unmute an answer. Okay, that is going to be better. What is h of s? Where it is fixed actually? You can see that here. H of s is available. What is h of s? H of s is your feedback transfer function. Feedback transfer function. So this is a closed loop system. This is a closed loop system. Okay. In general, if you convert that into an open loop by using a block diagram reduction method, you will get an M of s. M of s is nothing but represented as G of s by 1 plus G of s H of s, where this plus comes because you are having a negative sign here. You are having a negative sign here, so your plus comes here. Okay, you know all these things we have discussed in a detailed way in your first unit. So, what is a time response? A time response is particularly knowing out what is the output response of the system as the time prolongs. Okay, if the time is changing and how the system will respond if the time is changing with respect to a given input. கொடுக்குற இன்புட்டை பொறுத்து அவுட்புட் டைமை பொறுத்து எப்படி சேஞ்ச் ஆகுது அப்படிங்கிறது தான் டைம் ரெஸ்பான்ஸ் அனாலிசிஸ். அதை வச்சு we are able to capture the dynamics of the system and the characters of the system. And the characters of the system can be obtained using the time domain specifications. We will discuss about time domain specification later. Okay. And if you see the time response analysis, you can divide that into two. Okay, the transient response and the steady state response. Okay, what happens if your system is responding with a response like what is there in the figure. Let us say this is your output response C of t with respect to time. Okay, and we fix this as your steady state value. Okay, this is your steady state. Okay, right. So how your system changes from initial state to its final state. Final state is this one. Let us say this is your okay, this is your most probably it is your R of t. Okay, so this is your final state. Okay, this is called transient time, and the remaining time available here, okay, we call this as steady state. Okay, so combinedly you call these two responses as what? Time response. What is transient then? If an input is provided at the first stage from its initial state, how a system changes its state from initial point to its first it reaches its final state. ஸ்டெடி ஸ்டேட்டை முதல்ல ரீச் பண்றதுக்கு அது எடுத்துக்கிற டைம், இனிஷியல் ஸ்டேட்ல இருந்து ரெஸ்ட் பொசிஷன்ல இருந்து இன்புட்டை கொடுத்த உடனே அது பெர்டர்ப் ஆகி டிஸ்டர்ப் ஆகி என்ன செய்யும், அது ஃபைனல் ஸ்டேட்டை ரீச் பண்ணும். இட் வில் ட்ரை டு ரீச் த ஃபைனல் ஸ்டேட். And what is the time taken to reach it? For example, I will give you, I always give an example of a fan. What happens? We switch on the fan. Let us say the fan's maximum speed is 700 rpm. Okay, 700 rpm. Only, okay, if you switch on the fan, it will take some time to reach its final state, 700 rpm. Before that, it will go 50, 100, 150, 250, 350. It goes on and reaches 700. So how much time it takes? The first time it reaches 700, we call this as transient. A simple example. And after it reaches 700, how much time it prolongs to be in 700, and what happens after that? Okay, that will, we will talk about what you call as steady state response. If you combine both these two, you call that as a time response. So I will say the total time response is the total time response will be equal to the transient response plus steady state response. Okay, transient response plus steady state response. Is that okay? So the transient response is the response of the system when the input changes from one state to the another. This another is particularly the steady state. This another is nothing but steady state. And steady state response is the response as time t approaches infinity. So probably after some time, once it reaches the final state, it tries to be in that particular steady state, unless otherwise an external or an internal disturbance occurs to change its state. Okay, so this is what you call it as a steady state. And always a linear system can be analyzed in time domain as well as in frequency domain. That is very important. You cannot say that only it can be analyzed in time domain, not in frequency domain. There are different approaches. Okay, which we will study in the maybe in the second unit. We will be talking about more about time domain analysis, and in the third unit we will be talking about frequency response analysis and what are the methods available, either analytical methods or graphical methods. Both things will be discussed in the third unit for frequency. Is there any doubt here particularly? Any doubts so far? Please respond. You can unmute yourself and talk, or you can provide it in the chat window with an yes or a no. Any doubts you can ask me. Okay, I'm free now to discuss about your questions if you have regarding this particular slide. This slide has given you an idea about what is time response analysis. What is time response analysis? Very important question. What is a time response analysis? It has both transient and steady state analysis. What is a transient analysis? What is a steady state analysis? So in transient state, what is the main character of the system we capture? Only if you I will give you another example. Okay, I'm asking you a question. Okay, I'm asking you a question. Okay, and I'm receiving some answer. Okay, I'm receiving some answer, and based on the time I receive the answer, what can I comment about the what can I comment about that? If I am asking you a question, okay, I'm posting a question to you as what I have asked you. Okay, what I have asked you now. What is the character of a system that can be captured in the transient part, and what is the character of the system that can be captured in the steady state part? Okay, that is very important. That we will discuss in detail in your time domain specifications particularly, but we should know initially. So I am posting you a question now, and I will get the I am getting some. I hope that I will be getting some answer from you. Okay. So what can I comment about that? Once I receive the answer, what can I comment about it? Maybe the answer may be right or wrong. That is one thing I can discuss. Okay, you keep that is if that is a correct answer. Okay. Now what I can comment? Let us say I am asking a question to Sibi Varshit. Okay, I am particular about that. Now I am asking you a question, and Sibi Varshit has given me the correct answer in 5 minutes. Let us say 5 minutes. And I am asking another question to Madhumita. Let us say Madhumita, and she gives me the answer in 7 minutes. So what I can describe about these two activities? Sibi Varshit has answered me in 5 minutes, and Madhu has answered me in 7 minutes. Let us take another. I think Ismail is there. Ismail has answered me in. Let us hope that I know this is not possible, but I will say that he answers me in the question in 3 minutes. What happens? What is the comparison between these two? What comment I can provide? Somebody can unmute and answer. That will make the class little live. Yes, being the second hour, you should be very fresh today morning, and you should be answering me instantly, fastly. Okay. So what would be the answer? Ismail has answered me in 3 minutes. Sibi has answered me in 5 minutes, and Madhu has answered me in 7 minutes. What comment I can provide? What is the general character I can find? I think all these three are there. Madhu is there, Sibi is there, Ismail is also there. Okay. Ah, okay. Then I will. Okay, you're not answering me properly, right? So what I can say, one has answered me in 3, the other has answered me in 5, the other has answered me in 7 minutes. Let us say in seconds you can. I expect people in seconds. Okay. Once I complete the question, I expect the answers to be received. Okay. So what happened? From these three, what I will get, I will say how fast, okay, the speed of the response. Yes or no? Yes or no? At least an yes or no can be answered. That will keep me okay encouraged. Like someone is there to hear me at least. Ah, okay, then some yeses are coming. Yes, yes, fine. So I can talk about speed of response the same way. Okay, once I switch on the fan, how fast it goes to its steady state. That provides me information how fast it settles down or the speed of the response. Sometime after asking a question like what today happened, there is no answer at all. Then I cannot comment about the system, or I can comment that this system is okay, not requiring or not or the amount of energy required to stimulate the system to respond is much more. Okay, it is a sluggish system. It is not responding. Okay, it is not responding. Okay, even for for a question, there is no answer. So I can comment about the speed of response. Okay, so for transient part, I can comment about the speed of response of the system. What happens if you go for a steady state? Once you reach the system, it remains settled there. Okay, then what I can comment about after your settlement? Okay, what type of character I can comment? Okay, one thing I can do, I can check it out how close it was to the steady state. Maybe 700 if I say, okay, 700 if I say, it may be around some 660, 670 based on the input voltage deviations, fluctuations, some plus or minus 2 percentage or 5 percentage is what they normally say. So we talk about accuracy, we talk about stability, we talk about accuracy. Okay, these characters are the most important character we discuss or analyze from the response of the system. To get this response, the entire response is called as time response, and a part of that is transient and a part of it is steady state. And from transient you get the speed of response of the system, and from the steady state you normally talk about accuracy and stability of the system. Got the point here? NS or no at least? Hello, people in the class. Only two are active. I think only other people are having only the machines are there, people are not there. Okay, we will see. Right. So we get inside what type of response can be analyzed only in two things are known. One is if you know what is the type of input provided, what is the input signal provided, and the next one is the function, what is the system is. Only whether it is a first order system or a second order or a higher order, whatever it is, if you want to know, get the CFT there, you should know both these things. R of t should be known and your G of s should be known. So typically control system is concerned with five types of signals particularly. Okay, one is impulse as what is being mentioned, then we will talk about step, then ramp, then parabolic, and the last one is sinusoidal. And we will not talk about sinusoidal now. We will talk about this when we are dealing with frequency domain analysis, because sinusoidal response has some frequency in it, and all these four responses, okay, they are not having any particular frequency. So we say that okay, right, these are the signals are the test signals. We will say test inputs. Okay, we discuss. We will try to discuss here in this particular class, right? So the first one, impulse, you can see that it's an infinite impulse. Impulse is nothing but a change, a sudden change from zero to final to another state, and the value of the magnitude is going to be infinite. That is what a real impulse is. So the first figure, okay, this one, the first figure is an ideal signal, an ideal impulse signal, which is not practically possible. And the second signal which can be generated in the laboratory is a practical signal, a practical impulse. Okay, if you want a magnitude to be maintained at A, then either the pulse should have, it's a rectangular pulse, it's a rectangular pulse. Okay, you know what is the area of the rectangle? Area of the rectangle is L into B, the breadth into length. So if the magnitude is maintained at A by delta, some value, and its breadth is maintained as 1 by del, then obviously L into B will provide me A as the magnitude. So it's a practically generated test signal. We call this as an impulse signal. If you want this A to be 1, you call that as, if A is equal to 1, you call it as unit impulse. Unit impulse. And in your analysis, we will be taking this into account. We will be taking this into account, right? So a signal of very large magnitude, which is available for a very short duration, is called an impulse. Can you give me a practical example which is happening? A practical example of an impulse signal which you can see during rainy seasons. What is that? A practical impulse, a high magnitude signal for a very short duration, a high voltage signal in a very short duration. What is that? தமிழ்ல சொல்றதுனால சொல்லலாம், தப்பு கிடையாது. ஒரு இம்பல்ஸ்க்கு ஒரு பிராக்டிக்கல் எக்ஸாம்பிள். What is this? Lightning, minnal. Okay, so that's the practical example where the magnitude of lightning is very, very high. It's infinite actually. We cannot measure that. It's coming under high voltage, very high voltage we can say. So, and it exists only for a very short duration. Okay, that's an example actually. And if you want that magnitude to be 1, you have to you call this signal as a unit signal, and your height or breadth should be 1 by delta, and this should be delta to get our 1 here, right? And it is denoted as del of t. The general notation of impulse is del of t. Del of t is equal to infinity for only at t equal to 0, because it is exists only for a short duration. We cannot, microseconds or nanoseconds it may be. Okay, so 0, at 0 the magnitude is suddenly changing. Okay, it's a spike. We call this as a spike. Okay, infinite. Or if you put del of t is equal to 1, unit impulse can be written as del of t is equal to 1 for t is equal to 0, and 0 for t not equal to 0. So this is the description for unit impulse. Unit impulse. And always, if you integrate that signal between the time limits minus infinity plus infinity, it exists only at 0. So the value is going to be A, if it is having a magnitude of A. Okay, this is impulse. The second one is step signal. The small change here is, again, this is called as a sudden change. This is a sudden change. You can see that from 0 it changes its state to A. Okay, and it tries to prolong further at t is equal to infinity. At t tends to infinity, it remains to be at A. This is what you call it as a step signal. Okay, it looks like a step. Am I right or not? This is looking like a step. We call this as a step signal. Okay, and the signal exists for t greater than equal to 0. Okay, and it is represented as r of t will be represented as u of t. In general, it will be represented as u of t is equal to 1 for t greater than equal to 0, and 0 for t less than 0. In negative side, it is the value is 0. Negative side, it is value is going to be 0, and positive side, it is having some value of a or 1. If you say it is 1, you call this as unit step. Unit step. If A is unity, you call that as a unit step signal. Understand? Yes or no? Response in the chat box at least. Yes or no? Yes. Okay, this is a step signal. This is a step signal. Okay, then we will go to the next third one, ramp signal. Ramp, we can see that in our college you can see. Okay, we have a ramp actually, so that இப்போ பார்த்தீங்கன்னா அவங்கள என்ன சொல்லுவோம், மாற்றுத்திறனாளிகள்னு சொல்லுவோம் இல்லையா? Okay, if they are coming through a wheelchair or something like that, they cannot prolong further through steps actually. So we will normally have a ramp. In hospitals, if you can see the movement of structure to the next floor or the first floor, if a patient wants to go through a wheelchair, they normally take them through lift, or they normally take them to a ramp. Okay, so ramp is nothing but you can see that a continuously varying signal, a constantly varying signal. You can see that at 0, if it is a unit ramp, or we say that it is going to be with respect to time, if it is changing exactly, and at 1 it will be 1, at 2 it will be 2, at 3 it will be 3, it goes on, it prolongs like this. So it is generally represented as r of t. R of t is equal to t for t greater than equal to 0, and 0 for t less than 0. Okay, got the point? If A is unity, then you call that as a unit ramp signal. So this is a unit ramp. Is that okay? It resembles a constant velocity. It resembles a constant velocity input. It continuously changes, linearly changing. With respect to time, if you see the input is also changing, output is also changing with the same amount, linearly changing. Okay, this is what you call it as a ramp signal. Then the fourth one is parabolic. And parabolic, you can see it is not linearly changing, even though at the initial stage it seems to be linear, but once it prolongs, we can see that it is exponentially varying. It is exponentially varying, and it is represented as again R of t is equal to t squared by 2 for t greater than or equal to 0 and 0 for t less than 0. Okay, a special case of parabolic signal is unit parabolic signal when a is unity. So this a becomes 1, then you can t squared by 2. And this is very important, this point. I will discuss about this in the next slide probably. Okay, we will see what is the relation here. So these are all again the four different test signals available. Okay, this parabolic signal resembles a parabola. That is why we call it as a parabolic signal. Exponentially, it is varying. Okay, so that is what you call it as a ramp signal. I mean parabolic signal. And the great disadvantage of this particular response, or what you call it as analysis, time response analysis, it is a little time consuming. It is a little time consuming because if I am asking you a question, d squared y of t by dt squared plus 5 dy of t by dt plus 6 y of t is equal to 0. Okay, tell me what is y of t. If I am asking you a question, what will you normally do? You try to find the solution for the differential equation. Okay, that is what we normally do. Instead of y, we put here c. Okay, that's it. C of t. That's the output. So you try to find what is C of t finally. What you normally do, you go for auxiliary equation, then you go for complementary function, particular integral, and finally you go for total solution. It takes time. Even if it is a second order system, you can work on it. But if it is a higher order system, it becomes a little tedious. It is a time consuming process. So the variation in the input because of this, even though it is that is the disadvantage actually, but the advantage, what is the advantage of the time response analysis using these four signals: impulse, step, ramp, and parabolic? I will tell you the relation between the test signals. It is having a nice relationship. We can say that initially you are having an impulse with you. Okay, you can perform one mathematical operation to get step. Okay, and further you can perform another mathematical operation to get ramp, another mathematical operation to get parabolic. So what is that? We call this integration. If you integrate, okay, if you integrate impulse, you will get step. If you integrate step, you will get ramp. If you integrate parabolic, if you get integrate ramp, you will get parabolic. You will get parabolic. That's the relationship. If you integrate, this is nothing but an integrator. For example, I'm having a function like cos t. Okay, my c of t is let us say it is t squared. Okay, it is not cos t. Let us say it is t squared, and this is a response for a step input. Okay, this c of t is equal to t squared for a step input. Now, to get to know what is the response of ramp input, what will you do? I got a response for step input. What now I want the same system, how it responds to a ramp input that I want. What will you normally do? We will again go to derivation. We will provide the input as a ramp. Then we will get the equation. Then we will solve and find the solution. That is another. That is the conventional way. But based on the relation between step and ramp, what is the step and ramp relation? If step signal is integrated, you will get your ramp. So what happens if you integrate? If you integrate it, you will get your ramp. So if you integrate your t squared, what will you get? You will get t cube by 3. Am I right or not? Yes or no? Hello. So now if I want impulse response, if I want an impulse response from the step, what I will do? If I want an impulse output for the same step from the step output actually, what will you do? We have to differentiate. Differentiate. So what happens? T squared, if you differentiate it, you will get it like 2t. So if 2t is there as the impulse response, if you integrate it, you will get t squared. Again, if you integrate it, you will get t cube by 3. So this is your impulse response, this is your step response, and this is your ramp response. So the relationship, the beautiful relationship between these 4 signals is providing me or making my analysis simple. If I have one response output or if I have one response with me, I can either do an integration or a differentiation to get the other based on my requirement. Got the point here? Got the point here? Yes or no? உங்ககிட்ட இப்போ ஏதோ ஒரு ரெஸ்பான்ஸ் இருக்கு, ஸ்டெப் இருக்கு, இல்லை ரேம்ப் இருக்கு, இல்லை பேரபோலிக்கோட ஒரு சிஸ்டத்துக்கு நீ ஏதோ ஒரு இன்புட் கொடுத்துருக்குற. ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் ஸ்டெப் சிக்னல் கொடுத்துருக்குற அப்படின்னா அதை ஸ்டெப் ரெஸ்பான்ஸ் சொல்லுவோம். இம்பல்ஸ் கொடுத்தீங்கன்னா அது இம்பல்ஸ் ரெஸ்பான்ஸ் சொல்லுவோம். இப்போ என்கிட்ட இருக்கிறது இம்பல்ஸ் ரெஸ்பான்ஸ், அதோ ஒரு சிஸ்டத்துக்கு எனக்கு தேவை என்னது? ஐ வாண்ட் ஸ்டெப் ரெஸ்பான்ஸ். வாட் ஐ நார்மலி டூ, I will just integrate it. I will just integrate it to get my step response. Rather than going there again, I want to analyze it. That is not required. So this makes the analysis little simple. Even though it is a time-consuming analysis, actually, it makes the analysis simple. Got the point? This is the relation between all the test signals. So I have consolidated everything here, which I have generally I have represented that. Anyway, you can this slides will be there posted in your Google Classrooms. Anyway, you can go through that also, right? Okay. Next part is order of a system. You already know what is an order of a system. If you are having a differential equation like this, like 2.9 equation 2.9, if you have a differential equation, and if you can see that the order of the equation is depending upon the highest order of the derivative. So we call this as nth order differential equation. If you have a second d squared y of t by dt squared plus 3 dy of t by dt plus 2y of t is equal to 0, then I call this as a second order. So an order from a differential equation can be found using the highest order of the derivative, number 1. Now, if it is of a transfer function model, transfer function is a frequency domain representation. It is a frequency domain representation. Okay. And if we want to know what is the order of the system, then you normally depend upon the denominator polynomial's highest order. The maximum power of s in the denominator polynomial determines what is your order. For example, s plus 3 divided by s cube plus 3s plus 4. What is the order of the system? What is the order of the system? Can anybody unmute and answer, please? Someone can unmute and answer. Just உங்க மைக் ஆன் பண்ணிட்டு பேசலாம். இது ஆர்டர் என்ன? s plus 3 divided by s cube plus 3s plus 4. இதோட ஆர்டர் என்ன? இந்த ட்ரான்ஸ்ஃபர் ஃபங்க்ஷனோட ஆர்டர் என்ன?
Third order, sir.
Third order, exactly. Very good. Third order. Okay, I think you got the point, because the denominator polynomial should be noted down. The denominator polynomial should be noted down, and the highest power in the denominator. That is what you call it as a order of a system. Okay, order of a system. and it can be commented on both open loop as well as closed loop. Okay, that's different area, right? And if you take, I think I have given you the idea about zeros and poles already. The numerator, the roots of the numerator, the roots of the numerator polynomial or equation, we call this as zeros of the system, and the roots of denominator polynomial is called as poles of the system. For example, I am having s plus 3 divided by s plus 1 into s plus 2. What are the zeros here? Can anybody say? Unmute yourself and answer. What are the zeros here? What are zeros and poles? S plus 3 is equal to 0, which implies s is equal to minus 3 is the 0. Then poles s plus 1 and s plus 2 equal to 0, which is equal to s is equal to minus 1 and minus 2, which are the poles. Got the idea? Yes or no? Hello, everybody? So 0 can be obtained from the numerator polynomial. The roots of the numerator polynomials are zeros, and the denominator polynomial roots are called as poles. And the order is described based on the highest power of the denominator polynomial. That is very important. That is very important. And what is a type? I will tell you what is a type of a system. And this type also plays a different role in the control systems. We will talk about that in the later coming lectures. What is a type of a system? The number of poles at 0 or origin. We can say s is equal to 0 or origin. Number of poles at origin. For example, for this system, what is the type? How many poles are there at the origin? Origin is what? 0, 0. Am I right? 0, 0. Origin is 0 here. Okay. So how many poles are there in 0, 0? There is no pole. There is no pole. That is what indirectly says s power 0. The poles at the origin is nothing but s power 0 here in this particular example. So it is going to be type 0. Another example I will give you, 1 divided by s into s squared plus 5s plus 6. What is the type here? If I equate this denominator to 0, what I will get? S into s squared plus 5s plus 6 is equal to 0, or s into s plus 2 s plus 3 is equal to 0. S is equal to 0, comma, minus 2, comma, minus 3. How many zeros are there at the origin? How many poles are there at the origin? How many poles are there at the origin? Origin la ethana poles irukku idhula? The particular example ku s is equal to 0, comma, minus 2, comma, minus 3. Idhula ethana poles வந்து origin la irukku? Origin na 0 la 0, 0. 1. Yes. There s is equal to 0. 1 ஒன்று தான் இருக்கு. அப்போ இது என்ன சிஸ்டம்? Type 1. Type 1. Can anybody say another example? I will give you 1 by s cube plus 5s plus s squared plus 3s. இதோட டைப் என்ன? s cube plus 5s squared plus 3s. What is the type here? Again it is 1, because it is going to be s into s squared plus 5s plus 3. So s is equal to 0 is only 1, so it is type 1. Got the point? So the number of poles at the origin determines the type of a system. The number of poles determines the order, and the number of poles at the origin determines the type. Got the idea? எத்தனை ரூட்ஸ் இருக்கோ அதான் ஆர்டர். எத்தனை ரூட்ஸ் டினாமினேட்டர் பாலினாமியலுக்கு இருக்கோ எத்தனை ரூட்ஸ் இருக்கோ அதான் ஆர்டர். அதான் நம்பர் ஆஃப் போல்ஸ் இஸ் ஈக்குவல் டு number the order of the system. Number of poles at the origin is the type of the system. I hope that you might have understood it. Okay, the last part of today's lecture, the response of a first order system for unit step input. So unit step input is described as R of S is the input and the unit step is represented as 1. R of t is equal to 1 is your unit step, and if you take Laplace for that, you will get R of S is equal to 1 by S. And you know, in closed loop polynomial, okay, if your G of S is equal to 1 by Ts, H of S is equal to 1 from here, okay, from here, I will get my closed loop C of S by R of S is equal to G of S divided by negative feedback, so 1 plus G of S, H of S. If we substitute all these value, I will get 1 by Ts divided by 1 plus 1 by Ts into 1, so which I can write it like 1 by 1 plus Ts. That is how you got this. Any doubts? Any doubts in this particular derivation? Any doubts are there? Hello? 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 No doubts, sir. Fine. So, right. So, this is how you got it. Now, your closed loop transfer function is C of S by R of S is equal to 1 by 1 plus tau S or Ts. Is that okay? Is that okay or not? Right. So, now I want to find what is C of t. My ultimate aim is find the time response analysis of this system. So, I want to know what is the output response C of t. For R of t is equal to 1. So, I convert that into a frequency domain function. So, R of S is equal to 1 by S. So, I can write it like C of S is equal to R of S into, I convert this as I, for convenient, I will take t outside. Okay, t outside, if I take t outside, what happens? It will become 1 by t into S plus 1 by t. Or I can write it like R of S into 1 by t divided by S plus 1 by t. And I can substitute R of S is equal to 1 by S here. So 1 by S into 1 by S plus 1 by t. Or in general, I will write it like, okay, 1 by t here. Okay. You will get it like 1 by t divided by S into S plus 1 by t. Any doubts so far? Any doubts so far in this derivation? It's a very simple derivation and it's going to be little easier for you also. So C of S is equal to 1 by t divided by S into S plus 1 by t. If I want C of t, I have to take Laplace transform, Laplace inverse. But at this stage, I cannot take directly Laplace inverse. So what I will do, I will try to find, I will try to go for a partial fractions. So what is the partial fractions? 1 by t S into S plus 1 by t is equal to A by S plus B by S plus 1 by t. So 1 by t is equal to A into S plus 1 by t plus Vs. Is that right? This is what you call it as C of S. Okay, so denominator gets cancelled, you will get this equation. And if you are able to find what is A and B, then you will be able to get back to the solution finally. Yes or no? So what happens here? What happens here? How to find it A? Okay, if you substitute S is equal to 0, you will get 1 by t is equal to A into 1 by t. So I will get A is equal to 1. This is one part. And if you substitute B is equal to S is equal to minus 1 by t, I will get it like 1 by t is equal to 0 minus B into 1 by t. So B is equal to minus 1. So knowing that, I can substitute C of S is equal to 1 by t divided by S minus 1 by t divided by S plus, 1 by S. Okay. 1 by S minus 1 by S plus 1 by t. So if I take L inverse, Laplace inverse, what happens? What is Laplace inverse of 1 by S? Hello? Hello? C of t is equal to 1 by s. If you take Laplace inverse, you will get 1 minus Laplace inverse of 1 by s plus a can be written as e power minus at. Instead of a, you have 1 by t, so you can write it like e power minus 1 by t into t, or I can write it like 1 minus e power minus t by t. You can see that here the unit step response of a first order system of transfer function g of s is equal to 1 by s t. You call this as 1 minus e power minus t. Now, if I am asking for an impulse response, what will you do? This is your step response. Okay, this is your step response. If I want an impulse response, what will you do? From step to impulse, what we normally do? You have to differentiate. If you differentiate it, what will you get? 0 minus of, what will you get? Minus 1 by t e power minus t by t is equal to 1 by t e power minus t by t. So this is your impulse response. If you want to get ramp response, you can integrate it. If you want to parabolic, double integrate it. Got the idea? So a first order system, if you want to get the time response analysis for a unit step input, you can directly work on it like this, like the mathematical derivation what we have done so far. The same way, instead of t, you may have a number, and your transfer function may have a different function there, and based on that, you are supposed to work on it and find what is the time response analysis in a problem. And if you further want to substitute various values for t in that function, because c of t is equal to 1 minus e power minus t by t. If I substitute small t is equal to 0, then it becomes 1 minus e power 0, which is equal to 0, because e power 1 is 1, 1 minus 1 is 0. The same way, if you substitute t equal to t, capital T, I will get it like 1 minus e power minus 1, because this is minus t by t, which is equal to 1 minus e power minus 1. My e power minus 1, you will get it like 0.368, so I will get it 0.632. Likewise, if you substitute t is equal to infinity, it is 1 minus e power minus infinity, minus this particular is 0, so you will get 1. So your final steady state is 1, is attained at t tends to infinity, and it varies from 0 to 1. It tries to settle down, and it is a nice little curve which varies from 0 to 1 when you vary your time t up to infinity. So if you provide a step input, unit step input for a system like this, you will get a response like this. And we have done it analytically. Okay, we have derived it, substituted different values of time, okay, in terms of time constant, and we say that that is going to be that. And this time t is called as time constant. And what is the significance of time constant? Time constant provides you an idea about the speed of the response, actually, the speed of the system. Okay, the time constant is small, the time constant is small, the system is faster, system is faster. And if it is large, if the time constant is large, if the time constant is large, the system is slow or sluggish, slow or sluggish. So kindly make a note of this. So this, if you are providing a step input for the system 1 by 1 plus ts, you will get a response like that. We have verified using MATLAB. We have verified using MATLAB. For this is an open loop system. This is an open loop. That is, your system will be 1 by ts. Okay. You are supplying a step input 1 by s. So what will be your output? What will be your output? You will get it like 1 by t s squared. What is 1 by s squared? Ramp. You can see that you have a ramp. You have a ramp signal. This is open loop response. And you can see that here, this is a closed loop response. Closed loop response. What is closed loop? Your system has become is 1 by 1 plus ST. Okay. If we supply 1 by S, that is step input, it is going to be 1 by S into 1 plus ST. And the derivation for that is only we have done it in the previous slide. And now we can see that it's having the same. It varies from 0 to 1. It settles down at 1 at some time. It takes 5 time constants. Okay, it settles down there, right? Nearly 5. At 5, it is settling down at 1. Yes or no? Do you understand it? Hello, people in the class. Okay, this is using MATLAB. This is using MATLAB, and this is a small code finding out a numerator and denominator. This is 1 divided by 1 plus ST. Okay, the S coefficient is given as 1 here, and the constant value becomes 0. Actually, okay, this is not 1 by ST, 1 by S actually. I will tell you what is happening here. Yes. I will explain the code also. That is not actually in your syllabus, but I will try to explain it. You kindly make a note of it. Numerator is 1. This is 1 by S. This is S actually. The denominator polynomial, S and 0. The coefficient of S will be provided here, and this is 0. If you put 1, 1, 0, it is going to be S squared plus S. Okay, 1, 1, 0 by means. Okay, the constant. If you put 1 also here, it is going to be 1. If you put 2 here, it is going to be 2. If you put 2 here, it is going to be 2S squared plus S plus 1. So this is an open loop, 1 by S, like what happens here. Open loop is like this. If I add a feedback and the feedback value H of S is equal to 1, unity feedback, then I will get a closed loop system to be 1 by 1 plus S. 1 by 1 plus S. Okay. And this is a subplot in the content like first plot and the second plot, which is providing you open loop and closed loop. And this give you the same thing. You can see that this is an open loop system. The first line is an open loop system. It is directly taken from the input. This is a step input. It passes through an integrator 1 by S. Okay, it goes to the scope. The second one, this particular system, this for the same system, I have given a closed loop. This is open loop. And I want to compare that with the input, the third one. This is 3, this is 2, and this is 1. The third one is the input. So you can see that the red line is unit step input. And open loop, I have already said it is a ramp. This is the open loop response. The previous slide also you got a ramp. Then the closed loop, you can see it is nearly settling down at 5. Okay, you can prolong it even after 5. You can see that it nicely settles down. Okay, this green color is giving you the closed loop response. The closed loop response. Okay, we can do this using Simulink, MATLAB. So a time response analysis of a first order system. Okay, I have given you a few homeworks. You try to explore it and try to tell me what is the answer for that. Okay. If you have an RL circuit there, okay, or an L circuit, not an RL circuit, you have an L connected to a DC input, and if you are supplying that with a voltage of 1 volt and the value of L is going to be 1 Henry, what happens to your I of t, and I of t diagram should be obtained. And what happens if you convert, if you change your L value from 1 to 1 millihenry, what happens to your current? That you can do. That because you are provided with the basic idea about modeling. So this is an L circuit. You write a equation. What is the equation? The voltage V of t is equal to L into di of t by dt. and try to solve and try to get what is I of t. Okay, try to get I of t. Right. This is one homework, and the second one is, if I connect a capacitor here, if I connect a capacitor to a DC input, okay, what happens is you will not get an output. Tell me the reason behind it. I am not getting an output actually for connecting a capacitor, okay, with a DC source. Why I am not getting a output? Okay, that's the second question. Okay, relevant to this. So I am done with my presentation today, and exactly we wind up. Any doubts in this today's class? You can ask me. Any doubts? Any of your any of the slides? Okay, you can ask me. Any doubts there? So try to address me address the homework problems. Okay, try to write the homework problem, and you can share that in the WhatsApp group so that it will be there. We can discuss about that if you have a doubt in that also. Uh, your questions. So if there is no questions, I think I can wind up the session. So thank you very much. If there is no doubts, we can leave. Thank you very much today. We will see by tomorrow. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.